Another week of football has gone by, and there has been some results which might catch people by surprise. You know, there was obviously the Chelsea 1-1 with Arsenal, which was the biggest game of the weekend. Ended 1-1. Both teams, I think Chelsea walk away from that game the happier team, even though they're at home. I think they walk away the happier team because of the context of them having 10 men. Whereas when you look at Arsenal playing, Arsenal, you know, really should have taken the initiative from there. But if you guys want to see the match reaction to that, go on my other videos and you guys will see all that. This is obviously the World Football Roundup to talk about some of the games that maybe I didn't talk about on my channel. And maybe people weren't, not everybody was probably paying attention to them, but yeah, that I didn't talk about on my channel. And a few things that I've thought of over the weekend. Firstly, let's start with Man City. Phil Foden. The task is very simple for you. Phil Foden just simply needs to be at his best. Now, you guys were thinking, well, what does that mean? Phil Foden needs to, the best of Phil Foden is when he's getting in the box, scoring goals, and maybe when he's on the end of, or when maybe he's part of a final pass, right? Phil Foden needs to be in that final third. And I know a lot of people are talking about how he's evolved a little bit this season where he's getting the ball from deep and stuff, but I think for what Manchester City need at this particular moment, I keep saying it, is a running mate for Erling Haaland. Now, again, Erling Haaland didn't score. This was the first game Erling Haaland didn't score in, and Man City have won in the Premier League this season. The other three, they lost against Villa, Spurs, and Newcastle, I believe it was. So that's a big thing for them, but that needs to be more often. Phil Foden is the only player at Manchester City at this present moment, other than Erling Haaland, that has shown a full season of attacking consistency. He's the only person. He was the player of the year 2 years. He's the only person. Doku hasn't shown that. Savinho hasn't shown that. Marmoush hasn't shown that. And whoever you want to say, they have not shown that full season of consistency in a Manchester City shirt. You know, do we count Bernardo as an attacker these days? Maybe. If you do, then maybe him. But in terms of goals, assists, and really making an impact on the scoreboard, it's only been Phil Foden and Erling Haaland. Do you know what I mean? So I think he needs to be the player that we know he can be. The 2 goals that he scored on the weekend, that's exactly the Phil Foden that we saw 2 seasons ago. First one, cross into the box, boom, on the end of it. The second one, chirky little pass, opens up, and puts it into the bottom corner. That is the Phil Foden that Man City are going to need. And I keep saying, do I think they have enough at the moment to go and compete on the consistent level for the title? I don't know. And because I haven't seen someone say, yo, Haaland, let's do this together. I haven't seen it yet. If that's going to be Foden, then maybe we can have a different conversation. But right now, Arsenal are the team to beat. They're in the ascendancy. And even when you look at Chelsea, they got Cole Palmer, arguably one of the best players in the Premier League. Are you talking about maybe a top 5, top 10 player in the Premier League? He'll be returning. So all of a sudden, you're looking at it and you're thinking to yourself, Man City need someone to, you know, really get them and drive them. But you know what I was thinking about, right? Credit to Liaz for this one as well. We talk about Pep Guardiola often, right? And a lot of people talk about Pep Guardiola's evolution. You know, has he evolved? His adaptation, has he adapted? A lot of people talk about his signings. Does he spend? Is he a checkbook manager? Blah, blah, blah. Those are all the things that people have those discussions about with Pep Guardiola. And we always obviously talk about his winning, you know, his football that he plays, how much he wants. He's obviously in the GOAT conversation, right? Pep Guardiola is a serial winner. If you're talking about just a pure-breeded winner, it's hard to find a better one than Pep Guardiola when you look at ratio, win percentage, multiple countries, etc., right? So we know he's already in the GOAT conversation. But the one thing about Pep Guardiola, which maybe is what... Now, some people might see it as irrelevant. Some people might see it as a great point. But one of the reasons why maybe Pep Guardiola, let me say that again. One of the reasons why maybe Pep Guardiola is seen as the GOAT, or a clear case for a GOAT conversation, is his ability to influence the game of football. We know the game has changed because of Pep Guardiola. We know the football that he's played over the years with Barcelona, all the way to Bayern, all the way to Man City, has influenced every single country he's been in, and also influenced international football. But that's just the football, right? So that's one case. Yeah, that's one case. How he's influenced the game. He has changed the way we see football. He has changed the way people play the game. That is incredible influence. But I want to put that influence to the side for a second. I think what is going on right now, and that's not being spoken about, maybe it is that Pep Guardiola is competing for a Premier League title against two of his former coaching staff. At this point, Pep, the big three, what is it? Fuck a big three, it's just big meat. The big three. Pep is competing with his own proteges. Pep is competing with his own students. That could be one of the biggest flexes. If Pep don't win it, one of my two youngers will win it, who learned the game off me. Pep got Maresca, for those who don't know, was at Manchester City. Obviously, Mikel Arteta was the assistant to Pep Guardiola at Manchester City. That level of influence in managers, right? That building managers or guys that have learned the game from Pep Guardiola to then go on to be managers. I think the pipeline of Pep Guardiola is probably the greatest of any manager we've seen. We've seen other managers, you look at Fergie's fledglings, you look at some of the players that have played under Wenger, not the greatest managers. But Pep Guardiola has assembled a kind of army of people who have credited him or have played under him as the reason of why they play the game that way. You look at Vincent Kompany, league winner. Xabi Alonso, a league winner, unbeaten season and current Real Madrid manager. He's competing for a title in the Premier League against Maresca and Arteta, two of his students. You look at Luis Enrique, who has credited him with being an inspiration. You know, also worked at Barcelona B when Pep was at the Barcelona first team. That, and you can go on. You can go to Eric Ten Hag. Yes, we can laugh at him now, but he was winning trophies at Ajax. So you look at Cesc Fabregas, someone else that's played under him. You look at Pep Guardiola's coaching tree of people that have been inspired from him. Xavi, another league winner. If you look at the pipeline of it, that is probably the greatest case for Pep Guardiola's GOAT legacy. Because that is the definition of legacy. Legacy is how you are remembered, what you are leaving behind. And Pep Guardiola is leaving behind the game of football in a different way, but also managers to influence the next generation. So for me, that's absolutely incredible. And if you're going to make any case for Pep Guardiola as maybe a GOAT, maybe that's where his strongest case lies. You know, maybe that's where. But let's move on. That was just a discussion. Shout out to Liez for, bringing it up as well when we were having a discussion. Moving on to Barcelona. Now, look, Barcelona, if they can stay fit, I think will win La Liga. I think Barcelona players that we're going to peak in the second half of the season. I think when you look at Lamine Yamal, he's warming up. Not really a good game against Chelsea, but this is what happens, right? This has to just be a routine win. Barcelona have won the last 4 in the league, right? But Barcelona need to see this as what happened against Chelsea was a reminder, was a gentle reminder that, yes, you may be doing your thing in La Liga, but internally, a lot needs to be worked on if you think you're going to go to the Champions League and do big things, right? That was a big reminder. And I think Alaves game just had to be routine. Lamine Yamal is putting up quietly a very, very good season in La Liga. Very, very good season. But now it's got to translate. Barcelona, obviously, Pedri was meant to return. I think he might have, let me see if he ended up, no, Pedri came off the bench in the end. I only caught about a little bit of the game. But Pedri came off the bench, but I saw the extended highlights of the game, and you look at Lamine Yamal doing a thing. When I was watching it, I wasn't too impressed with Dani Olmo, but he ends up walking away with 2 goals. Rafinha back, coming on from that left-hand side. Making runs from that left-hand side. That is an important part of the piece. That is an important piece of the puzzle. Rafinha, massively needed. Right? And then when everyone's fit, I think Barcelona will continue trucking away in La Liga. But the Champions League is the big thing. Real Madrid draw. Again, Kylian Mbappe with a penalty. Kylian Mbappe scoring. And that's just what it feels like every week. It just feels like if Mbappe is not doing something, who is going to do something for Real Madrid? He scores a pen. Nothing amazing. He scored earlier with the handball. but Real Madrid have dropped points. And I think that's 3 draws in a row in a time where people are actually looking at Xabi Alonso like, are you sure you're the real deal are you sure you're ready for Real Madrid level? He really needs to, he really needs to make that right. But let's move on. Oh, no, actually, no. I can't just move on so quickly. La Liga is slyly putting up a decent title race. You know, maybe people are going to say it's like a Serie A title race where maybe all the teams ain't as the highest quality at this moment. But Barcelona have 34 points. Real Madrid have 33. Villarreal have 32. Atleti have 31. Is this a secret title race? This is a title race. I mean, within 3 points from 4th to 1st. Atleti secretly in there. Now, do I think they're going to win it? No, I think Barcelona are going to go off and win this. But Villarreal, shout out to Villarreal, because I didn't see this coming from them. You know, I really didn't see this coming from them. I saw them play, I think it was Spurs last season. I wasn't impressed. But for them to be sitting 3rd, fair enough. And that's like the Serie A, man. The Serie A is always close when it comes to title races. And look, you can see it right now. The title race in the Serie A is separated by 1 point from 1st to 4th. 1st to 4th, and 4 points between 6th to 1st. Shout out to Fabregas, doing a great job at Como. Allegri, my gaffer, top of the league. They say he's all cancer, and hey, listen, top of the league. Hey, I want Milan to win it. I can't lie. This year, I want Milan to win it. Or I wouldn't mind Roma winning it. It'll be nice for a Roma or someone like that to win it. But let's move on quickly. Alexander Isak gets on the score sheet. You know, Mohamed Salah dropped. Shout out to Arne Slot for making big decisions. That is what you got to do as a Liverpool manager. Listen, Salah has not been serving up the goods. It's just a reality. And if you're going to want to turn this around, you have to make big calls. And he did. He started Alexander Isak, who got his goal. Florian Wirtz with his best performance of the season. And listen, sometimes it's got to be out with the old, in with the new. Now, I'm not saying that is 100% going to be the case with Salah, but he did even bring on Mo Salah. You know, and Isak and Florian Wirtz had their best season and best games. Oh, well, Isak got his goal, but he was pretty poor, actually. Florian Wirtz had his best game. But this is what you're going to need to do sometimes. It's going to have to be, listen, we need to bring in the new guard. We need to bring in the future. We need to protect what we're going to be in the next 5-6 years. And this is going to be between these two are going to be involved in that, not you. So we can't prioritize you anymore, despite us paying you that much. That might have to be the case. They want to play. You want to play towards your 2 record-breaking signings. They are going to have to find a chemistry. They're going to have to find a linker. And if it means Mohamed Salah, for me, he should now be that player that's getting off the ball, getting into the box, getting to the back post, trying to score goals instead of playing through him and trying to be the facilitator and giving it to him and trying to do wing play and all that, especially that he's going off on AFCON. Arne Slot needs to find his team without Mo Salah from now. Salah is going away in 2 weeks. So, guys, credit to Arne Slot for that one. But West Ham, really poor team. And when you look at West Ham's squad, when you look at their season, I'm actually concerned for them. They're just hovering above the relegation zone. They're exactly the same goal difference as Leeds. But personally, guys, I've been more impressed with Leeds than I have been with West Ham. That's how bad it is. And I'm concerned for West Ham because we know Wolves are going down at this point. They still have no wins. Wolves are gone, right? But then there's a little scrap between Nottingham Forest, West Ham, Leeds, and Burnley. West Ham, I always keep saying they got Jarrett Bowen, they got Paqueta, but it's just not clicking. And when I look at West Ham, I know they won 2 in a row at 1.3. They're just unbeaten in 3, but something about them. But maybe I'm going too far with saying Leeds have been more impressive. But Leeds, Burnley, and Wolves are really bad teams. So maybe that might keep West Ham in it. Might. But I'm just so disappointed with West Ham and the trajectory of this football club. I can see them doing a Wolves soon. I can see them doing Wolves. Each season is slowly dropping down. You know what I'm saying, guys? So that's a concern. But listen, quickly, I want to give my champ of the week to Reece James after that performance. I thought he was fantastic. That performance against against Arsenal, and all the talk was about the other midfielders. All the talk was about other things. And Reece James just reminded people why he's one of the elite players in the Premier League. I'd love to know where people think of Reece James. Where do you rank this guy in the Premier League in terms of the best players in the league? You got to give a massive shout out to Igor Thiago. Is Igor Thiago, people, the breakout player of the season? Is he the breakout star of the season? The guy has 11 Premier League goals in 13 games. 11 Premier League goals in 13 games. We have to give him credit, and we have to give Keith Andrews credit, because you thought Wissa, you thought when Mbumo's going, who's going to fill in the boots? Igor Thiago said, don't worry, guys. I've got you. I have got you. Vista's not even going to play a game yet. He's Mbumo is at Man United. Man United are just doing whatever he's going up and down because of the inconsistencies of United. And Igor Thiago pops up with 2 goals, and Watara obviously got the goal. I actually thought he got a hat trick. Got with the 2 goals, but that puts him to 11 in 13. 3 behind Erling Haaland. I would have never expected that. If anyone that's a betting man expected that, then credit to you guys. You guys are absolute geniuses. But guys, like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications on. Let me know what you thought about this weekend. What stuff have I not touched on? Who should I be looking out for? Shout out to Voltemada for that finish. It's just audacious. It's just cheeky. It's the type of football that I like. And Voltemada, I've already spoke about him on this weekend. It's late, guys. I'm recording this at 2:30 in the morning. 2:30 in the morning. Now I'm getting tripping over my words. So, guys, like, share, subscribe, turn your notifications on. I'm out. Peace.